Okay, so I am here to talk about Pillar 5. Finally, Pillar 5 is here. I'm gonna take those off. So Pillar 5, there's so much to talk about with Pillar 5. Pillar 5 is mindset. And so just a reminder, we're talking about the 5 pillars for sustainable fat loss. And the key word is sustainable. Second key word is fat loss and not weight loss. Two different things potentially, not always. They can be the same thing, but a lot of times they're two different things. So I want to address the mindset part of it. And like I said, there are so many things that you can address with mindset. So I'm going to try to do kind of a broad overview of it, just to get you, a good feel of mindset and things that you can do if you are running into mindset issues. So by mindset issues, I mean, maybe you're ready to start a program, or you need to start a program, or on a certain path or a journey, you need change, but you're just not taking that step. So why not? We'll talk about that. But what if you are ready to take a step and you're taking those steps, or you've taken steps over and over and over only to end up in the same place again? So those are the kind of things where mindset issues come in. But like I said, mindset could be such a broad topic, with all kinds of different things you can talk about with it. Okay, so let's just say, I want to first give you some tips. If you're the person out there that knows you need change, you're ready for change, and maybe you just haven't taken that step. Maybe you haven't taken the step because you've tried before only to be back to where you are now, and you're tired of trying over and over and over again. Maybe you've lost trust in yourself and in being able to sustain it, which I'll tell you right now is not your fault. It's a lot of the industry and the messages that they're sending out there. But maybe you just feel like it's going to be too much work, too much sacrifice, too much deprivation to get started, whatever the case may be. But I want to help you get your mindset focused and ready to make that change and to create that change. And before I go into that, I really want to remind you guys of that 16 weeks transformation. I mean, I'm thinking everybody has seen my constant posts about it, because I believe it's a game changer, and it's at a very affordable price, literally $2 a day if you get it at half price before tonight. So that's very affordable, and it literally, through this program that's already put together, so there's no interaction with us like one-to-one coaching or anything like that. I want to make that super clear. But the way the program and the roadmap is laid out is to literally hold your hand, guide you through it week by week, and you literally just need to follow the steps. And the goal of the program is to teach you how to properly fuel your body and stop depriving yourself. I literally just had somebody message me, and I mean, it just gets me so fired up, and just, I guess, it kind of breaks my heart when I see people that are just trying so many different diets and health coaches and all these kinds of things, which only lead to more frustration. And if a program is calling you to kind of be in a box, and these are the only foods you can eat, and this one was you just eat bars and shakes, and then you have a salad with some kind of protein at night. And especially for moms, or just anybody who just wants to have a social life, that's just not realistic to sustain. It's not. And you might do a great job, you might do awesome for a few months, but then you hit a point where you're just like, I'm off the diet, I lost the weight, and then what? What happens? You start eating like you ate before, because you never really learned that process in eating, like fueling your body properly, learning those healthy habits and how to build and create those healthy habits. So that's where this program is. It really does. Now, I do have the meal plans and the recipes, which I've had clients use these meal plans and recipes, and I've had them make them for themselves and their kids and their husbands. Their spouses love them. They all end up liking the recipes. So if that's a route you want to go, or I do, like I've said before, I give you a template and teach you how to portion out your foods and which foods to eat, a whole list, and that you can sometimes just have your non-negotiable date night or your non-negotiable girls' night out and enjoy it. and not always be in sacrifice or deprivation mode. Okay, so enough about that mindset. So mindset. So if you're having a hard time, so like I said, I'm gonna talk about two different angles here. So if you're having a hard time getting started, I wrote down some questions that I want you to ask yourself, and really like take 10, 15 minutes, maybe even get a journal. That would probably be the most beneficial way, just to get your thoughts out. And you might even start writing and just like, 30 minutes later, be like, whoa, I know you just poured it all out on the journal. But I'll kind of give you some questions to guide you through that, to where you think, okay, now I'm ready to take a step and move forward. And then if you are somebody who has taken that step and you have noticed like certain things pop up in that journey, which I've mentioned on here before, then how to work through that and how to keep persevering and keep pushing through as you're creating these new habits and these challenges come up. So I'm going to take it from those two different angles. So, okay, so some questions for you to ask yourself if you're having a hard time getting started, or if you're just sitting on that fence, like, I need to. Here's some questions I want you to ask yourself. First, where are you currently at? So really think like, where am I right now as far as your comfort level? Like, obviously, if you're knowing you need to make some changes and get started, you're not comfortable. You're not where you want to be. So where are you at as far as your weight, your energy, your diet? How's your diet? Your confidence, how's it impacting your confidence? How's your stress right now? Your sleep is a big one. We've talked about that. And then, are you making self-care a priority? So there's some things to really, like when you think about where am I at, those are some subtopics there to kind of go through and really think about and process. And like I said, if you write these out, you probably come up with a lot more answers just pouring it out on a piece of paper. And then why do you think you're here? Like what's going on? What's been going on? Why do you think you're here with your weight, energy, diet, maybe lack of sleep or whatever? And then what ultimately are you looking to accomplish? What would you love to see happen? What are you looking to accomplish? And then, this is the biggest. This is a biggie. So what are you looking to accomplish, and why is that important to you? Why is that important for you to accomplish that? I want to lose 20 pounds. Okay, so why? Why do you want to lose 20 pounds? Because, this spring, summer's around the corner, and I want to feel comfortable in shorts. I want to be able to wear tank tops. Okay, so why is that important to you? You keep going a little bit deeper and really get to like the root of why it's important to you, because I feel more confident and I become more social when I feel confident like that. And, and I could put on tank tops and shorts and I feel confident. I get more social. I accept more social invites. And then I'm happier when I accept social invites. So those are just some examples, some things to really think through. Maybe it's not really weight loss you're looking for. Maybe it's just you want to make sure you're aging healthy in a healthy way. So maybe you just want to make sure you're aging in a healthy way. So that's another thing for you to look at, So I have had a lot of clients that just simply want to be healthy, have the energy, be able to move better for time with their grandkids. And that's because really we're talking like in 40s, 50s, 60s. They want to be around for their grandkids. They want to know like they're taking care of their health and they're fueling their body properly and they're moving it and they feel good. So think about those things about why it's important and make sure it's a deep why. So why do you want to accomplish that? And then what's been your biggest obstacle? So process that as well. Like what has been your biggest obstacle in accomplishing that? After you do that and you're really getting in touch with like what's going on and where you're currently at, then create a vision for yourself of what you want. So and really like get in touch with it. So what is life like for you when you create those healthy habits, or you drop the 20 pounds, or you're fitting back into your size 6 shorts? What is life like for you at that point? And then what changes under that umbrella of what is life like for you at that point? What changes would you experience? I'm going through these really fast. I don't know if you're taking notes. I mean, I probably should slow down, but I have so much to cover. And then what would that mean to you? So what kind of changes would you experience, and what would those changes mean to you? How important is that to you? And probably the biggest thing to ask yourself is, are you worth it? Do you truly believe you're worth having those things that you want? And really dig deep and ask yourself that, because you are worth it. And I hope that you believe that, and you're worth, creating those changes. Okay, so let's see. So I think that's pretty much it as far as if you haven't taken that step to get started in a program, or to get started in creating that change or building, it doesn't even have to be in a program, but creating those new habits, you're kind of sitting on the fence with it, then hopefully these things, will get you kind of thinking and processing it, and really getting fired up and like, I want to do this. I want to create those changes for myself. And then now you have started the process. So this is something I've talked about many, many times, and it's called the cycle of transformation. And it's basically 4 phases that you go through when you are truly transforming your body and truly transforming your mind. The first one is, let's say you answered those questions and now you're ready to start, and you sign up for the 16-week program. We'll use that as an example because it's a great example, because everybody should be signing up for that. So let's say you do that, you sign up for the 16-week program, and now you're excited. Like, you are so proud of yourself. You are so pumped. You're going to make all these changes, and you're in that's that first phase. You're in that excited mode. Like, I am ready. I'm ready to make these changes, and I feel good about it. And you're proud of yourself for taking that step. So that's the first step. As you start to move through a program, creating healthy habits, as you start to move through that, there will always, 100% of the time, be resistance. There's always going to be things that come against you. So whether those things are external or those things are in your mind, what we want to do is take control of the things that we can control. We can't control a lot of the external things going on. We can't control if your spouse keeps unhealthy foods in the house. Maybe you could control that, but to a certain extent, you really can't. So you can't control, the amount of stress that's placed on you in a day, or those kinds of things. So what we want to do is get to what we can control, and that's your thinking, your thought process about things. So as you move from phase 1, where you're excited, you're like pumped, you're ready to go, and you start to get into that phase 2, which is resistance. That's when a lot of times your old self, that comfortable, like, okay, I didn't have to go through all these, learning how to eat and creating all these new habits and letting go of some of my old habits. I didn't have to go through it. I just want to go back to what's comfortable. You're like, your old self is starting to try to pull that new self that you're working on back and say, this is probably more comfortable, because that's what your brain does. It wants you to be comfortable. It doesn't want you to experience pain. And your brain sometimes believes that change equals pain, and that's not the case. It's challenging, but that's why that time is called resistance. So if you think of resistance like weight training and bicep curls, and the more you do the bicep curls and the more you make that repetitive, the more you're going to build that muscle. And that's the same thing with our brains. So the more you push through that resistance, the stronger you get each time. So when that old self is calling you back and saying, hey, let's just chill on the couch tonight, like, forget it. Or let's just go ahead and, eat a whole pizza because that's what I enjoy. Whatever, when that old self is calling you back, and every time you're like, nope, I'm going to keep my eyes forward. I'm going to push through. I'm going to persevere through this. You keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and you're working toward your transformation. I'll move on through the next 2 phases, and then I'm going to come back to resistance, because that's where the magic happens, is in that resistance. Okay, so as you push through that resistance and you get stronger and you're seeing results, you're noticing your mind is shifting, and you're actually enjoying these healthy habits. Like if you've built healthy habits of working out consistently and you miss a day, you're like, I don't feel the same today. I know my boot camp clients are like, they have that habit down. They've been going for years, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 5:30 a.m. And they are like amazing. Nobody has perfect attendance, no one, but they are very, very consistent. And that's because they've created that habit. This is what they do. This is their healthy habit that they have chosen. And when they miss, I just had a conversation with a client, one of my boot camp clients this morning, that when she starts missing, how easy it is to, one, fall out of that habit, but how different you feel. You don't feel like yourself if you're not getting that workout in. So when you're passing through that resistance, you're actually getting to where you're transforming, and you look forward to your workouts and you're seeing the benefits of them physically, mentally. You look forward to that healthy meal that you just, tried and it was awesome. And you look forward to those things. And that becomes more of who you are and then you're transforming. The work is not done at the transformation phase. You still are going to continue, because at any point you can still kind of get pulled back or fall off the wagon. You want to get to where you're to that ideal self, to your ultimate goal, to where you are truly like, these are my habits. This is who I am now. Like, this is what I do. I eat healthy. Sometimes I enjoy ice cream. Sometimes I enjoy pizza. But my consistent habits, not perfect, habits are I eat healthy. I move my body consistently. I get good sleep. I manage my stress, all those things. And that just becomes who you are. And if any one of those things is off, you can tell you're not the same person. You don't enjoy it. You missed your workout and you're bummed, like you feel it. So those are the 4 stages of the transformation cycle. So to go back to resistance, I'm going to post, I already did a video on this, on the 7 forms of resistance. So ways that resistance can show up in your brain. And there's 7 different ways that it can. And I did a video on it. I'm going to put it in the comments. Hopefully it uploads in the comments, but I'll put it in the comments. And then there's also ways of overcoming that. I don't think I'm going to put that video in the comments. I might, I don't know. But the first main one is the 7 forms of deception. How we deceive ourselves to think that, I don't want to do this after all. And then you just go back to what's comfortable. There's 7 different ways that you can fall into. There's a rut dweller where you're just like in a rut and you're just like, this is just where I'm at, or whatever. But I'll go into all those. I already went into all those in the video I have that I'll put in the comments. What I want to point out about this is the power in knowing these is, number one, is not to beat you up and be like, I'm a bad person because I'm a rut dweller or anything like that, or I've been stuck for like the last 6 years and I can't figure my way through this. It's not to beat you up. What it is to do is to help you recognize, because when you can see the story that you're telling yourself, when you actually hear that story you're telling yourself, and sometimes we have blind spots to it, sometimes we don't see it, but if we really start to pay attention and recognize those stories that we're telling ourselves about why we can't continue or why we just, go back to just being where we were before. When you can recognize and acknowledge that story, and I talk about this in my book, and I'm not doing a shameless, I forget what it's called, but I'm not advertising my book, but I do talk about it in Cross Your Creek, that when you recognize the story you're telling yourself and how that story is working against you, what you can do is acknowledge that, and then you turn the story into one that's working for you. And you turn it into something that's going to keep moving you forward and keep you persevering and getting stronger in your journey. So you flip the script, you turn it around and you say, let me try and think. So here's one. Let's say you're like, okay, I'm tired of carrying around this weight. I don't want to carry it around anymore. So you start creating change. And then it gets hard, because it's going to get hard. Because change is not easy. It takes practice and consistency and perseverance. And then it starts getting hard on you, and you're just like maybe your body's sore, or you're tired, or You would much rather just sleep in than get up and go get your workout in. All those things, and then you tell yourself a story and you say, well, obesity, and maybe I'm taking it to the extreme, but obesity runs in my family anyway. So this is just probably who I am and who I'm going to be. When you recognize that that's a story you are choosing to tell yourself, you're choosing to tell yourself that story, which is great news, because it means you can flip it and you can choose to tell yourself, I am capable of creating this change. Maybe, the history of my family is obesity, but that stops here. And I can do this. And I know I can create this change. I have all the tools right at my fingertips. And all I have to do is keep showing up for myself. I can do this. And you continue to show up for yourself because you changed the story. And now, instead of feeling like, lethargic or what's the word I'm thinking? Apathetic. And you're just kind of like dragging, like, this is kind of just how it is in my family, and you have no motivation. How's that going to motivate you to get up and get moving? It's just not. But when you stop yourself in that thought process and go, oh, no, it stops here, and I'm going to create a healthy lifestyle for my kids so that they can see that, changes can be made, so that I can see changes can be made. I'm going to do this. I'm going to persevere through this. That's more inspiring, that's more motivating, and that's going to get you up and get you moving. And you may have to talk to yourself day in and day out for a while until you're really like catching on to it. And like I said, you're working that muscle and you're getting stronger in it. So when you hit those times of resistance, again, in the video that I'm going to post, the number one thing you can do to stop it is to stop the story you're telling yourself and change it into a story that moves you forward. So I hope that example works for you. I hope this whole thing works for you. So if you're not getting started and you should, and you're just kind of sitting there, I hope those tips work for you. And I highly encourage you to just at least start with answering those questions for yourself. Answer them out loud, talking to yourself, or start writing. I know when I start writing, like, stuff just comes out. So and then if you have started and you keep hitting that patch, you've started before and you hit that patch of resistance and you go back, you're losing trust in yourself to actually be able to follow through with the program or anything like that, then there's those tips to go, okay, wait, this is a hard patch. This is that resistance that Lisa was talking about right here. So what can I do? What story am I telling myself that's making me want to just fall back and just throw in the towel? Okay, so how can I change that story into one that encourages me to move forward? It's the same thing like we always say with like eating and stuff. Is what I'm about to eat gonna move me more toward my goals, or is it gonna move me away from my goals? Because you're moving one way or the other. Or is working out or not working out today gonna move me? Working out's gonna move me toward my goals. Not working out, it's gonna move me away. Thinking a certain way can move you the opposite direction you wanted to go when you set out on this mission. And then switching those thoughts to something that motivates you and inspires you and tells you, yes, you can do this. And it starts with one workout at a time, one healthy meal at a time. It starts with that. And then always remember that you are not looking for perfection. It might be possible for this long, but at some point you're going to break, you're going to binge eat, or you're just going to throw in the towel. You're looking for consistency, because if you are consistently, 80% of the time following the plan, doing what you set out to do, you're going to get amazing results. So that's mindset. That's what I have on mindset. And I'll put that video in the comment section. We're running out of time, about less than 7 hours left. And then my Transformed goes to full price. So it's at a steal right now. I'm telling you, it's a steal right now. So, and for those of you that maybe have considered one-on-one coaching with me, but haven't taken that step yet, this might be a good, intermediate step to see what I believe. I feel like I've shared it all here, but what I believe and how I coach and all those things. So that's all I have. And I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. I hope you see this before tonight if you are somebody who's considering Transformed, the 16-week roadmap. And I guess that's it. So if you guys have questions about anything, leave them in the comments. If you could say hi, if you've gotten this far in the video, I should have said this at the beginning of the video, but if you could say hi, I always appreciate and value that. And I hope you guys have an awesome weekend.